Okay, hopefully it works now. Can you guys hear me and see me? Okay. Oh, thank goodness. Okay, perfect. Thank goodness I know how to troubleshoot now after how many webinars. I can fix the problem fast, so that's good. Okay, awesome. I'm glad you guys can see, hear me, and also you can see the PowerPoint. That's very important too, so let me know. Awesome, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, so I was saying is give me a quick shout out before we begin because it is 12 o'clock. I tried to come on a little bit early so we can do a little shout out. I'm Chrissy, lead RefectoCil trainer for North America, and I am in beautiful Canada, Ontario. A little cold right now. Well, not a little, a lot cold. We're expecting another snowstorm, but that's where I'm from. So give me your little, oh, hi, Samantha from Lux. Welcome. Yes, very cold. It is indeed. Born and raised in Canada, but I feel like it's time for me to go somewhere hot. Live somewhere hot. Great to see you too as well, Samantha. Niagara, Lethbridge, Ottawa, Greenville, Tennessee. Oh, they're going back by so fast. Sacramento. Perfect. They're having the show this year in Sacramento, California. The IECC or ICSS, or is it the Face and Body? I can't remember, but they're having a trade show in Sacramento. Colorado, Florida, Kelowna, everywhere across the US and Canada. This is awesome. Hope some of other places are having good weather. I know in California they had also, yes, Face and Body, Nicole. Yes. I know in California and certain regions it was hit really bad with the tornadoes, I believe, the flooding and all that stuff. So I hope everybody who is in that area, if they either were affected or not affected, I just want everybody to be safe, be okay. Um, um, our prayers are with you, and hopefully everything goes back to normal. Okay. From Massachusetts, Connecticut, New York. Wow, we have a lot of different states, which is good. Thank you, Nicole. Yes. So this is awesome. So I'm really excited you guys are here on today. We do have a good amount of attendees today. A lot, actually. I feel like it's New Year's resolution. Let's add on new services to our spa and salon. So what's really exciting is we're going to talk all about the intense browns today. And we're going to have a little brief welcome, Claudia. We're going to have a brief little presentation, just a small PowerPoint, because the most effective way of learning is actually seeing it done. And that's what we're going to do. We're going to do a live demonstration. A quick little survey. Who is this is their first time hearing about intense browns? Let me know with a hands up or me or whatever you want to say, but let me know if this is your first time hearing about intense browns. Okay. Oh, wow. There's quite a few. That's awesome. Perfect. I'm excited. I heard you from DK. Okay, perfect. Okay, so there's a lot of new ones. So this is really exciting because it's, we've got that little fresh meat to excite you guys about the new product. Also, for those of you that have heard it, I just began to offer in December. Oh, that's awesome, Ashley. That you can always share some feedback with us at the end on how you're feeling if you already started playing around with it. But how many of you, like Ashley, have already heard about it, purchased it, and just trying to work with it? And maybe this webinar is something that's going to assist you to execute the service well. Let me know that as well. It was a little long question, but I hope heard, not purchase. Okay, perfect. Okay, so hopefully this webinar and with the live demonstration, if there was anything still working with it, we have some models, okay, that's great to hear, Ashley. Struggling, don't worry, Jayla. Oh, Jayla, glad to have you on. Don't worry about the struggling. We will help you, and that's what the webinar is going to help you today. Okay, and not purchased yet. Would like to purchase, just to not know what it offered. Okay, thank you guys. Thank you for sharing all that. This is actually, and you just received your kit, Jane. Okay, that's awesome. So for those who didn't purchase it yet, I need clarification. Good. You're at the right webinar. For those of you that purchased it and are struggling, good. You're at the right webinar because I'll try to troubleshoot as well in my demonstration. And for those of you that, yep, you'll get a recording. And for those of you that are utilizing it and having success, you'll have the opportunity afterwards if you want to share something with us, or Let us know how you feeling with it, how are you working with it. In this community, we want to help each other. Okay, so let's start with the PowerPoint. One thing I ask, if possible, please hold your questions. Hi, Terry. Thank you for coming. Thank you. Thank you. One thing I want to ask as a favor is please hold on to your questions until the end, meaning until we get to the demonstration, so we can let the PowerPoint flow in the speed that we need it, and then I can answer all your questions. Okay, so let's start off first. You'll get it at the end in a thank you email, Kajal, okay? And you'll get the recording. So one thing we wanted to mention, the reason why Intense Browns was made this emphasis, this launch, you're welcome, all this launch and the importance about it is because there is no FDA approved tinting system in the US. And especially places like California, as we put right here, they had strict regulations, California, New York, and they couldn't even offer these services. As of January 2022, California was able to start offering all these services, lash lifts, tints, and so forth. But still, they're what we're free now. Yes, Nicole, right? Isn't it a breath of fresh air? So you're able to offer these services because I feel like that these are services that were held back. But if you're using a manufacturer's product that was created to be gentle on the face, there shouldn't be any issues. Also, you're missing out on offering services that are non-invasive that could help somebody to work with their natural lash and brows, because these services are very in demand. Everybody's looking to go get their lashes and brows done, especially during the pandemic. When we were mask wearing, they saw the importance of emphasizing this area. So it's very nice now that California has, as Nicole said, freed, but still there isn't a brand out there of a tint that was FDA approved or compliant until July of 2022 when we launched the Intense Browns. So the Intense Browns, we do not say approved. The right verbiage is that it's FDA compliant. The color additive, which is silver nitrate, the percentage that's being used in the developer to develop the color has been approved. Okay, so that is the verbiage just to understand, but the whole system is FDA compliant. Okay, so it's really exciting news because schools, salons, you can freely now teach this and utilize this in your salons freely. Have it showcase. You couldn't showcase your RefectoCil tints if it wasn't FDA compliant. Okay, so this is awesome news. So let's just go quickly just to see. There's your line put together of what the kit, like the colors, the activator, the primer, the tint remover. There's a little bit more extra into the kit than that. But as we see here, it's FDA compliant. When we say up to 6 weeks, be mindful. This is very important how you have to portray this to your client, the verbiage that you're going to use. 5 to 8 days, it will stain the skin, but that varies on your client's skin type, oily versus dry. So try to be mindful and give that range. If you give the highest and not falsely advertised, but if you're saying, yeah, 6 weeks, but it doesn't last 6 weeks on the skin, you're going to have very unsatisfied customers. So 5 to 8 days, this is how I tell my customers, 5 to 8 days onto the skin, but depending on your skin type and also depending on your maintenance at home. 4 to 6 weeks on the hair, once again, depending on the skin type, oily versus dry, and what your maintenance is at home. Okay. Once you tell your customer like this, if they came back and say 6 days and they're like, the tint's gone, they comprehend, they're just coming back for a touch up, at least they understood that they won't come back complaining. Okay, so that's very important. Be honest with your customers in the durability of this system. Okay, easy application. There's no mixing, which is great. No ratios. Not if you're by using too much tint, too much oxidant. So that's a great thing. It's vegan, not tested on animals. So the plant-based extracts that were put together into the color gels, all is a bunch of different plant-based extracts that help to put together and help with the staining. Okay, so it's like a henna. Henna has tree root bark. That's what it's made out of. This one has a bunch of different plants. Okay, So it's going to be very sensitive, not sensitive. It's going to be a mild way of tinting your customers' lashes and brows, especially if you have clients that are allergic to the oxidative tints. This is the way to go. So I'll be referencing oxidative tints as well because I have people from Canada. So in Canada, we do not have any restrictions. We are able to use the oxidative tint. But the intense browns is a great way. It's a great way to uh, accommodate clients that are sensitive, accommodate clients that are missing a lot of brow hair and need that staining, because with the oxidative tint, you don't get that staining. In that same day, it goes away as soon as you wash your face. So even in Canada, the intense browns will be very useful to reach other type of clientele. Okay. Um, we will talk about that. We will talk about that, Amelia, and the list of plant products. You'll see it on the ingredients of the product or online on our website on our RefectoCil, and I will have a slide for that. You can download all the product sheets and see all the ingredients. Okay, so I will go to your question. Give me 1 second, Amelia. Let me just go to the different colors that we have, and then I'll explain once I reach a certain slide. I will explain the difference. So we have 4 different colors. We have the ash brown, the chocolate brown, the deep brown, the black brown. When you look at the ash brown, you look at the model, and we have all these up on our website as well, social assets that you can download to show your customer the befores and afters with these 4 models. Because when you're consulting your customer, it's very important to show them the look, what kind of look it looks like, because it is an intense look. That's why it's called intense browns. So they are like a microbladed look, or like a powdered look, or like a very powdered makeup look. So you have to make sure your customer is going to be okay with that and not be shocked as they look themselves in the mirror. So your ash brown is great for the people who are more blonder. They have lighter skin, paler skin, lighter hair, and it's a cool tone. Okay. Your chocolate brown, if you have those natural brunettes with slight warm undertones, or just for natural brunettes, but the chocolate brown does have a slight warm undertone. Okay, so you could use it for that clientele, as you can see with the model. The deep brown, it starts to get more intense, right, in the coloring. So as we can see with the model, she has dark hair. But when we look at the before and after pictures that we're going to go through the slide, her brows are a little bit washed out because of her hair giving that more predominant look. And when I look at her, I would just focus on her hair and not see that she actually has beautiful brows. So when they use the deep brown, she doesn't have she has gentle facial features, which is good, and she can do that deep brown with gentle facial features, because if she didn't have that dark hair and that big amount of hair, and it wasn't so there, and you use deep brown, it could also make her look aggressive. So take into play what their hair looks like, the style, the darkness, the texture, and so forth. So the deep brown for her works very well. Then the black brown, this model has black hair, and then it's going to be harmonious with her look. It's not going to be too aggressive because her hair is dark already, and she doesn't have too strong facial features as well, that it's going to give her more of that structure into her face by using the uh, black brown. The black brown as well is perfect for lashes too. So you can use this system for the lashes. So let's look at the before and after, so you get an idea of what their brows were before and what they look like now with the intense browns. So as you can see, it is, if you've used the oxidative tints, you can see it's much more intense. Okay, it is staining the skin, so it's hybrid. It's staining the skin and coloring the hair, so you're getting that more intensity. Okay, the more volume the hair, the more intense it's going to look as well. So as you can see, the first model with the ash brown, her brows, because of that cool tone, it matched very nicely well with her roots coming out, but didn't look so aggressive for the rest of her blonde hair. Okay, the next model was with the chocolate brown. So once again, you can see that it's more warmer. It's kind of hard to see in the PowerPoint, but when you get the social assets and when you download them, you can see how much warmer the chocolate brown is compared to the uh, to the ash brown. Okay, just give me 1 second. I'll be able to answer your questions. I just need to go to the right slide. Okay, and then you have your deep brown. Okay, so your deep brown, as you remember how I mentioned this model, she does have beautiful brows. She has a beautiful shaped brow. But as you can see, because her hair was so dramatic in a sense, it's there. Her brows get washed out and doesn't frame her face properly. So because of that, the intense browns with the deep brown, you can see that it's matched her hair properly, and you can see that even her face has illuminated more and structured her face to give her that total look. Okay, and then the black brown for the last model, you can see that the look is harmonious with her. The contrast is not making her look aggressive, and it's good for her. Okay, so these are befores and after pictures. I always suggest share it with your customers. Okay, so we're going to start now talking about the product, and I'll help to answer the question, what's the difference from the oxidative tints. An oxidative tint, just by the name of it, you know that's going to open up the hair follicle, the hair structure, and it's going to deposit the hair inside. So you get that roughening of the cuticle, and then after a couple of hours, the hair cuticle will close up, will seal up, and that color will stay deposited in there. So you'll get a longer wear with the oxidative tints onto the hair, not the skin. With the intense browns, and that's why with the oxidative, you are roughening the cuticle. So if somebody is very sensitive, this might not be an option for them. You would have to go to the intense browns. So the intense browns, it doesn't penetrate into the hair structure. The primer only opens a little bit, the first portion of that hair on the top, and that's it. And it doesn't penetrate into the hair structure completely. So you're not having that roughening of the cuticle. So it's coating the outer layer of the hair. So it's not going to last as long because it's on the topical, it's on the outside like a henna. So that's the difference. Okay, the primer though, so when we look at so are the last two shades neutral undertone? So they are cool tone. All of them are cool tone except for the the chocolate brown. So there's the primers. Now you get two different primers. You get medium and strong. Now people's misconception is if I use the strong primer, I'm going to uh, um, uh, add more durability. Like it's going to last much longer. That's not the case. Okay. It is going to last the same amount. It's just going to be more intense, the color. So say, for example, you have the ash brown and you just purchased the ash brown and you're like, oh, shoot, I need more colors because I have customers. I need to intensify it and go higher, but you didn't have it, but you had the strong primer. You can take that same color, the ash brown, and intensify it much more to suit a customer that wants more intensity. So that's what you're doing. Medium primer, you're giving a softer look. The stronger primer, you're giving it a stronger, intense look. Okay. So once again, the intense browns will last longer on the skin than the oxidative because the oxidative tint is not meant for hair. It's not meant for skin. It's meant for hair. So it won't last on the skin. As soon as you have that shading on the skin when they leave the salon, they go home and they wash their face, or even if they go swimming or they do any sports or they do any sauna or so forth, it's going to take it away. The intense browns, you have 5 to 8 days that you can have that staining on the skin with the help of the primer. The primer does prepare the skin for that staining. So you have between 5 to 8 days. And as I mentioned, depending on your customer skin type. Coverage of gray, yes, it does. New gray, 100%. And even the ones that get a little bit more thicker, but as soon as they start to get very unruly, very coarse, very wiry, there may be a possibility that it doesn't, and you might have to pre-soften it or maybe use the oxidant to open up that structure so that when you do the intense browns. Now, we have the bleaching paste that you can pre-soften the hair, but what they suggest is you have to wait 24 hours for the customer to come back to do the intense browns after you pre-soften with the bleach. Okay. So here's the 4 colors. We already talked about them. And then, so it is a 3-step, 2-step for the lashes, 3-step for the brows, because the primer, especially if you want to fill in any gaps, any sparseness, you need to use the primer. If a customer came with full brows, like there's no skin that needs to be stained, full brows, and they just wanted the color, they just wanted it to be freshen up the color of the brows, you can omit the primer. Okay, but in all the brow tintings, the primer will be very effective for you. For lashes, you don't need the primer, so that's when it becomes a 2-step. So you've got the 3 different steps and there is no mixing. So you have your primer first, then you have your color gel, then you have your activator, and that's your activator. And we'll go through the timings when I'm doing the demonstration, but basically the timings are 4, 2, 1. for each step. So 4 minutes for the step number 1, 2 minutes for step number 2, 1 minute for step number 3. So they're half of each timing. In between the steps, there's drying time. So we're going to show this as well in the demonstration. And I'm going to show along the way what products I'm using, what are in the kit, what you might need extra, okay? And what is the aftercare that I use, okay? Let's go quickly on the 3 different techniques. So for blonde, Maria, do you mean if the person has blonde brows? It will cover it. Can you use after lamination? Yes, you can, but you have to make sure because there's henna brands out there that you can't use. They've got to come 24 hours because it's just the oxidant of their tinting doesn't work well with, or their hennas with their don't work well with the lash perm solutions and so forth. So when it's deposited into the hair, it just doesn't work well, and then you won't have results. So, but with the intense browns, you can do it, but you have to be very, very, very mindful that you clean that brow properly, that there's no residue of anything from the lamination so that it can be effective, and you can do it in the same seating, and also dry the hair before you proceed starting with the intense browns. We will have a webinar on brow lamination and intense browns, together those 2 services, where I'll show the demonstration in February. I think February 7th. So if you can register for that one too, you can see it being done both ways with both services. You're welcome. Okay, so 3 techniques that you need to understand to tell it to your customers, because not everybody's going to want that full brow. The easiest technique is the full brow. So there's 3 techniques: full brow, ombre, brow filling. So let's look at the full brow technique, okay? The full brow technique, your brow is actually with the 3 steps filled from the beginning to the end. And you're going to see that brow mapping is extremely important, okay? Sangeeta, you will see the answer to that at the end when I show the PowerPoint with the website, okay? The full brow mapping is going to be very, very, very important because you are staining. So if you don't have proper brow mapping and outline, working within that outline, you could make an uneven brow, which is not good, okay? And your customer won't look aesthetically pleasing. So brow mapping is very important. I do the simple brow mapping. If you know how to do the one with the strings, you can. But usually when you do all those lines, it's usually for somebody who doesn't really have a brow, like almost like if you have a cancer patient and you have to give that brow. So you have the caliber and so forth, just like a microbladist would do it. Can everybody else hear me and see me? Oh, okay. I'm not quite sure why somebody can't see or hear me. It has to be their system. Okay, good. The majority of you guys can hear me and see me. Good, good, good. Okay. So I was always saying the brow mapping, I just teach the 3 points. Okay, you hear me? Okay, perfect, Sam. I think it was Sam that was having issue. If you can't see me, just make sure you check your settings for your camera. Turn it on and off, or exit and come back in, okay? Thank you, guys. Thank you. So I just teach the 3 points, and I'm going to show you guys that in the demonstration because usually the majority of the clients that I have do have a brow structure. If they don't, that's where I'm going to try and use a caliber. If they don't have any brows at all because they're doing the chemo treatments and so forth, I will have to use the measurement tool, okay? So there's your full brow. So it's ideally for customers who want the intense, strong look and for those who need a remodeling or a redesigning of their brow. The ombre look is going to become very popular, especially for the customers that say, I want a more natural look, because you are softening the beginning of the brow so it doesn't look so intense. Okay. And we're going to show the ombre brow so that you can see the technique. I showcase the ombre brow because the full brow technique is so easy how to apply it. The ombre requires you use the backside of your spoolie of your brush. Okay. And the final one that you're going to see is your brow filling technique. As you can see in the image, they just mapped where her brow needs these solutions. So the beginning of the brow, they put nothing because she already had density in that area, and they didn't want to give her a full brow the full brow look, but the rest of her brow had to. If you can see in the image, one of her brow, like you can see there's a little bit of brow missing on the top of the part of her tail end, and there's some sparseness, so you're able to complete that look. And then at the beginning of her brow, it almost gives that ombre look. Okay, So this is the three techniques that you can utilize for your customers. Today we're going to, for your clients, sorry. Today we're going to, showcase the ombre. Okay. So we have something really exciting that we want to mention. Myself with our team, I worked really hard at getting the information to portray a certification course. So as you know, our global webinars are here just as a refresher for you guys, a way to chat with me, a way to answer your questions. But we do now have a CBUN Academy. And we have launched our first two new courses that are certification. And if you're in the US, you get your credit of CEU, your CE credits. Okay. So there is a fee. It's not that expensive at all for these courses, and you do get a certificate at the end. And on your certificate, it does portray, if you are in the US, your CEU. Okay. So please check that out if you really want to be certified and don't have somebody local in you that's offering these classes. You can go there and do that certification. Okay. Stay until the end because I do have a contest that I'm going to show after the demonstration. So if you can stay fully, I will implement a contest that will be pretty interesting. Off topic, but I'm curious about if it would be possible to create lip tints. I think that would be amazing. Are you talking about the manufacturer to create lip tints? Hey, I can throw it out there. I have a good relationship with the manufacturer. I could throw it out there. I'm not quite sure if that's the direction of what they're doing, but I can let them know. Okay. So let's look at the social accounts because there was a question about where's the link to register for the webinar in February with the brow lamination. So first of all, like us on Facebook, even leave a comment on Facebook. We have a nice, the review section. We'd like to know what you thought of the training in general, what you think, even of our social accounts, anything that can help us to better it for you. Follow us on Instagram. There's the two accounts, RefectoCil North America, which is our big account that we put all brand images and so forth. And then there's a Browista by RefectoCil, which I'll try to do a lot more lives and so forth because I was told by many of you that I should share this information as well and do some lives and do some product launches live and so forth. So I'll try to get onto that. Visit our website, so refectocileducation.com. And that is the website that you can go register. We have all our webinars on there on the main page that you can register. I will be uploading our March, April ones as well. And on that website too, for Patty, you can check there. There is a profitability sheet that you can download that has all the services, what you can charge for them, and what is your revenue. So for now, to mention, for this system for intense browns, because it takes a lot more time, it could take about half an hour. And if you're also doing any type of hair removal, brow shaping, it might take 30 to 40 minutes, depending, because of the steps of not mixing and allowing the drying times and so forth. And the brow mapping. So we say book your clients for 30 minutes, 30 to 40 if you're doing the shaping. You'll know afterwards if you can continue doing it 30 minutes with whatever shaping you're doing. So that's, we say between $40 to $60 you're going to charge for your customers because it is a more artistic service. It takes more time, takes more design. Okay. Is this covered under salons liability insurance in Massachusetts? So if you do the online course, your certificate you should be able to show that certificate to your insurance company, because a lot of things we get asked is, do you have a certification course? Because we want to take that certificate to our insurance. So it should work. If anything, just show it to them and see what they say, or ask them before you go do the course. Okay. For brand ambassador, so we don't necessarily have brand ambassadors because we have such a wealth of people that love using RefectoCil and share every day hundreds and tag us like we're not shortage of that. But if there's a certain state that you're in that we might need an educator, you can reach out to the email. So for example, there's my email, education@cbngroup.com. You can email and let me know where you are, and I can see if there's anybody we need in that area that's a trainer. But on that note, don't hesitate to share your work because we feature people's work on our stories, on our posts. We just have too much of it that is no need for brand ambassador at the moment, but we still want to see your work. And then there's the online course where you can go register. at www.cbnacademy.com. Okay, so this slide will help you with our social accounts. If you want to take a picture of it, because for the contest, you're going to need to know this. And then visit our website. It's an educational website. You can download a lot of files from there: profitability, consent form, product sheets, so you can know the ingredients, and so forth. And there's a lot of videos that you can download as well. There's social media assets that you can download. We made it very user friendly for you guys. So let me just see quickly the questions, because we are going to proceed with a demo. So I know there were some more questions. Mention another California school. Do you have anyone to come to do a demo? Tammy, what I would suggest, please, because you are probably on our list for that school, email me at education@cbngroup.com, that email that I had there, and we'll chat. Okay? Because I take care of the schools, and there is a lot of schools that we've reached out already in California. So please connect with me. Okay? The email for me is education. You got it? Oh, okay, perfect. I'm trying to see if I reach the online course is the site can't be reached. Oh, I will check on that. Just give me 1 second. Oh, I can't check it from here. Give me 1 second. I'm going to check. That's not good. If it says that. So cbonacademy.com. For me, it's just loading, and I will see. And try a different web browser. Sometimes I found that the Google web browser didn't allow me to go to the course, but when I went to another web browser, it did. So try a different web browser. Yeah, so don't use Google. I don't know why it's not working on Google. We're trying to figure that out. But if you go on Firefly or whatever, or another web browser, it should work, because I just checked right now. It doesn't work on Google, but it works on my other web browser. Okay. Sorry about that. I don't know why. So let me go get my model. Are there any lighter shades than brown? Nope, there's no lighter shades, but they will be looking at creating a lighter shade than the ash brown. I just don't know how much sooner. Okay. Who would be considered our distributor? Dawn, that's something that you would have to email me. Now, if you go on our website under Intense Browns, there is a section that says where to buy for Intense Browns, and you can see all the distributors that have it now, that carry it, and you can put where you're located, and it will direct you. Okay. So if I didn't answer your question, please just let me know. I already answered the one about the service fee charge. It's about $40 to $60, because it is a more intense service. So let me just get my model. Pause on your questions at the moment. Just pause them. I'm going to answer them still. I just want to go get my model to come and sit. So approximately how many clients can be done with the kit? The deluxe kit, you can do about 60 treatments. Okay. Okay. I'm going to reach out. Give me 1 second. Let me get my model. Pause my questions so I don't miss them, and I can answer them. Oh, it looks style. Nice. Okay. You might be a little chilly. Okay, we're going to get my model in, and we're just going to fix the camera. So I'm going to turn the camera off at the moment, so that you don't get dizzy with me moving the camera. Okay, I can't. I can take it off if you want, or put it lower to the feet. Yeah. Okay. Like this. Probably not allergic to detergent because it smells fresh.
Yeah, I am very allergic.
Are you?
Yeah.
Oh shoot.
That's okay.
Is it bad? Smell it. Is it bad? Okay.
No, it's not
No? Okay. We're just coming. Yeah, is that good? Okay, so let me switch the camera view. Okay, guys, I got because of the camera, I had to switch it. Where I just had to reconnect. So hopefully you can see the model. I will fix it. There was some questions. Can you guys hear me and see me? Let me know if you can see me. Uh, no, we have the consent forms for regular as well. So just if you go onto the website, we have a section for regular consent forms, and then we have for intense browns because there's different questions you ask for intense browns. Anybody that needs product where to purchase, please visit the website. We have a where to buy. Okay. And if anything you can't find there, just you can reach me in the email. A patch test is recommended because you never know if they could have a reaction even with plant-based. Okay. Um, Okay, so let me see. I think I got all the. Is it okay for students to take the online? Of course it is. They can take it for sure. And if you are from a school, let me know because I work with the school to help them on how to do the online course. So if you're calling from a school or you're a student at a school and you want me to connect with your coordinator to make sure that you guys are able to do this course, please reach out to me in the email and I will help you guys set that up. That's what currently I'm doing with all the US schools. Okay. Okay, so perfect. Everybody can hear me and see me. Perfect, perfect, perfect. Let me zoom in so you guys can have a better view. I'm gonna zoom in. And we're going to angle it. Okay. How do you guys feel now? It's good? The view is clear for you guys? Let me know. I could probably turn the camera. I'm worried that it's going to disconnect. Yeah, it's going to be a little bit on an angle, but as long as you guys can see her brows properly, that's awesome. So let me get my gloves on. Let me start prepping. I will show the product because we didn't go through the steps, but I will show you everything that I'm using in the webinar. Okay, so let's get my gloves on. I'm gonna tap my hair back. Okay, and we're gonna get the phone ready. Perfect. Okay, so prep work, very, very, very important. We have to prepare the skin properly, especially with the intense browns. It's very, very, very important, or else you're not going to get the results that are meant to be shown. Okay, so we start off first. What's in our kit is the micellar eye makeup remover. Okay, so it's in the kit, but if you're already using RefectoCil products, you're already using this to prep. It's non-oily, it's micellar, so it helps remove any waterproof makeup, works like a magnet to remove all that. So it's very, very important. Try and keep it in the system. That's how your results will come out to the T. Okay, once you start mixing up products with different brands, we don't know what the results will be like. Okay, so we're gonna clean. So even if they come without any makeup, it's very, very, very important that you do follow through with the prep work because you have oil, you have sweat, you have the environmental factors, dust. Also, they might not be wearing anything in their brows, but they could be putting on powdered makeup. Okay, and that will land on the brows and will be not allowed to have proper skin staining. Okay. Okay. So after we did that with the micellar eye makeup remover, we're going to grab our saline solution. Okay. Very, very important with all the services we do, we follow through with the saline solution. Okay. Any of the RefectoCil services, whether it's a lash lift, lash curl, brow lamination, a lash and brow tinting, whether it's with the oxidative, whether it's with the intense browns, you always follow through. It's a double cleansing, but it's also going to make sure that you degreased everything, removed everything as the final step. It's a final security. Okay. So same thing. Now, a very important thing, which we're actually going to do and showcase is, and we started to add it into the protocols, is exfoliation. Now, RefectoCil will try and come out with an exfoliant, but in the meantime, use something that you use in your spa treatment that's meant for the face, for the area that's more delicate, the brow and the skin area. So use an exfoliant that has, small microspheres, that's not too abrasive. So I'm just going to use the one that I just have, and I'm going to squeeze it onto my hand like this, and I'm going to get a Q-tip, and I'm going to massage it in, and as well in the skin area. Because if the customer has dry skin, once they leave you and they go home and the skin starts flaking off, their brows would look very patchy. So remove that dead skin. Just like when you go tanning, they tell you the best thing to do is exfoliate before, because you remove all that dead skin, and your evenness of your tanning from the tan, like the actual tanning, or even the spray tans or the lotion tans, are going to go evenly and smoothly. Okay. So we've done the exfoliation on that side. So after the exfoliation, you have to follow through with the saline, because certain exfoliations will also have oils in them, and you want to clean the property. So what I do first is I remove it with water, with a little bit damp water, to remove all those spheres, and then I go over it with the saline. Okay. So far that's the prep. And even if they have oily skin, I would still do the exfoliation, because you want to remove all that oil that's in there. If you don't clean it properly and remove it properly, you could as well have patchiness. Okay. So I just put very little water, and I'm going to remove all the little small little spheres. And then we're going to do the saline. Okay. So that's the prep. Okay, so let's do now the saline again, and then we're going to dry the hairs, because we don't want them to be wet, as the primer won't adhere properly. Okay. Perfect. So now what we're going to do is dry, and I get my nice Browista toolkits that you have in your kit. You're going to get the brushes, 2 brushes in a bowl, and I like that there's a nice silicone spoolie, so it's easy to disinfect as well. But I'm going to use this to dry the brows and spread them, like brush them through, and use a lash fan. There's lash fans, so like what I'm using, and just brush it through. Okay, a lash fan will be very important that you purchase one. RefectoCil unfortunately does not make one. They said by the time they make one, it could be really expensive to your end. Plus, you have all that competition with lash extension places and Amazon. So you can purchase it from those 2 locations, okay? But you're going to need it for this service, a lash fan, because there are drying times in between, and they're 4 minutes. You want to not do full 4 minutes, because it's a waste of time, almost in a sense. So you can condense that 4 minutes to a minute, and save 6 minutes of just drying time if you have a fan. Okay. So now we are ready to start with step number 1. Remember how I said you have a strong or a medium primer. So when you look at the tubes of tints, see me, I don't read the writing anymore. I can see by the coloring. Your tubes are white, but your medium primer has a nice softer gray, and your strong primer has a nice darker gray. So I like that, because it's easy to pick it up and not make a mistake. Okay, but we're gonna do medium. And we're also going to use a chocolate brown for ruler, right? Because we used that last time, did we? The chocolate brown?
The cool one.
But didn't we say that because you have warmth, we were going to try
No.
next time the chocolate brown?
No.
No? Ash? Okay.
Mhm.
So we're going to do the ash brown. Okay, so we're going to use the medium. I'm going to show you what it looks like. Make sure in your kit you do have your 2 bowls, 2 brushes, but you'll have to purchase 1 more. I always say purchase another set of your Browista tool kit, because you need 3 brushes and the 3 bowls. You can't intermix. So one thing that we have to do before we proceed is brow map. Okay, brow mapping is very important. And as I mentioned, I just do the 3 points. This is our nice brow mapping pencil. I've used it a lot. It's usually about this long, much longer, but it glides so easy, like even on the skin, it glides so easy. And it doesn't, oh, sorry, that was blurry. That did not help, but I'll show you on the brows. And we've had such good feedback at trade shows. People love buying our brow pencil because it doesn't tug the skin and the pigment is really good and strong. So we're going to start. So your first point, try not to put it at the edge of the nose, but your first point is on the tip of the top of that nostril, straight up. And that's where your brow will start. Okay, open up your eyes for me, Rula. And when they look straight, you're going to go from the corner of the nostril to the corner of the iris, and that's where your arch is going to be. And then from the corner of the nostrils to the corner of the eye, that's where your last point is going to be, where your brow is going to end. And then you're going to connect it. Sorry, it's going a little blurry, the camera. And then you're going to connect it. Okay? Give me 1 second. I'm just going to do this. Maybe that will help with the blurriness. Okay. And then you're just going to connect it. Okay? Now I'm going to keep it as subtle for Rula, so I'm not going to do too much extension of skin staining. So down here, she'll get that staining that she needs to fill in those gaps right there. Okay, that's simple. So I know a lot of people at trade shows, when they see the system, they're like, oh my gosh, I have to brow map, and they freak out. Okay, try not to get the brow mapping on the hair that you're going to color because it will interfere. Okay. You can turn that way a little bit if they want to see. Yes, thank you. Okay. And take your time with this step if it's something you're not used to doing. This is the part that's going to take the longest for somebody who's not ideally brow mapping, knows how to brow map. If you put it straight, then you're just going to look at it, make sure that it's in unison. Perfect. Okay, so everybody good with the brow mapping? Pretty simple, right? At the beginning, it didn't take me this quick to complete it. I was a little nervous at first too. I don't do microblading, so I never did a henna until we got the intense brown. So this is, I learned how to do it. It's easy, it's okay, and I'm able to give customers nice new brows. Okay, so that's the brow mapping. Now we're gonna start with step number 1. Now we can squeeze it out. Try not to squeeze them out before because they have such short timing. By the time, if you left it out, like for example, the activator is only 1 minute. If you squeeze it out and didn't use it right away, it's up. It doesn't work anymore. These colors, they're not progressive. So whatever the time is, that's what they stop at. So don't squeeze them out before. Comes out like this, like a clear, like a gel. So all the steps are gel clear, and that is why you have to brow map, because you can't see any coloring happening. So brow mapping is very, very important. And you can go against the hair growth as well to make sure that the primer goes underneath the hair to the skin. Okay. I feel that there might be questions. Sorry, my thing wasn't. Oh, okay, there is questions. My thing wasn't loading. Can you purchase all these items separately? Yes, you can. They are open stock. Just a kit ideally will be cheaper than open stock. So that's why we suggest a kit. Nope, I never cover the eyes for safety. If it's for lighting, you can cover the eyes for lighting or dim your lighting. I'm doing webinars, so the lighting is really strong. So they have their eyes closed. They can just relax. If you want to put something on, you can, but there's no need. You shouldn't have anything fall into their eye. You can do it in the chair or in a shampoo bowl. For sure you can. As long as a customer is comfortable, you can. I do show it in some webinars sitting up, and you'll see that on our website. Give me 1 second. I'm just going to keep on applying, and I'm going to answer more questions. Sorry, it wasn't loading for me. But yes, it is doable to do sitting up for sure, because salons can do this service as well. So like I mentioned, turn this way. Yes, go against the hair growth as well. Especially when you're going to be working on if a brow is thick. You want to be able to get the solution right through. So this is going to stay on for 4 minutes. Remember, that's the first timing. So I'm going to just press start. Perfect. And then I'm going to answer your questions. I'm just going to fill in. Okay, so let me go and answer. Just give me 1 more second. I just need a little bit more primer. Okay, so let's see your questions. Okay, is the surface that can be done? We said that. That's not in the kit. Which is not in the kit. The brow mapping pencil is in the kit. Let me know. I think I missed your question, Ashley, but let me know. Sarah, can you purchase all these items separately? In Canada, yes, you can. Once again, if you go to the where to buy on Intense Browns, you can see all our Canadian distributors in whatever province you're in. Can you say that product name again? It's not in the kit. Which one? The brow mapping tool or the primer? The primer is in the kit. There's 4 sets of primers, 2 medium and 2 strong. Let me go down in the questions. Maybe you answered it. Can you say the primer again? Saline before and after exfoliation, is that right? So technically you can do the eye makeup remover and then exfoliate and then saline solution. I just went extra happy with the cleansing. Looks that way. However, the saline is not in the kit. No, the saline is not in the kit. Nope, it's in none of the kits, which sucks. But the kit will be too bulky, too heavy, too much money. But you purchase it separately. It's not expensive at all. How do you sanitize the bowl? If you're in Canada, you can use the RTU. Preempt RTU. If you are in the US, you can use the prevention product too. There's wipes and liquid as well to clean your bowls and your brushes, and it's got a contact time of 1 minute. So that's between both, and you can go download protocols as well on the Virox website on either or of the Pro Beauty. We said it's called, right? In general, because of the prevention, right?
Prevention
Is
disinfectants.
Yeah.
.com.
We'll have both, US and Canada.
Separate.
Separate. Okay. So prevention. No, you said
Prevention
disinfectants.
disinfectants.
Yeah. Preempt. Yes.
Disinfectants.
So you can go to preventiondisinfectants.com for the US side, preemptdisinfectants.com for the Canadian side. Okay, because the regulations are different as well. So that's why there's different product. Do you have to brow map? I have been testing it without brow mapping and no issues that far. Unless you have a brow that's full with no, if there's missing a lot of hair and you have to recreate a brow, yes, brow mapping is important. If you're okay without it, sure. But sometimes you might stain where you shouldn't, and the brow will look uneven, and you have to sit there rubbing the skin to get it off with the tit remover. So if you're successful with that, there's no problem. You can do without the brow mapping. Yeah, I would sharpen the pencil, correct, and then you can spray with alcohol, or as you're using right there, or you spray it with the RTU if you're in Canada, or you spray it with the the prevention if you are in the US. Okay. You can use any exfoliant that's made for the facial area, like for the face. So if you're in a spa and you're already doing facials, you must already have one. If not, purchase one that's meant for the face. It's sensitive, it's okay, and the microspheres are small. I can't recommend a specific one because I don't currently do facials to tell you a good brand. But if you are in the facial industry, the spa aesthetic, many distributors will have a good facial scrub. The brow mapping pencil can act as a protective. Okay, so my time's up. Can act as a protective barrier, but we've noticed that the staining does go through it. So don't rely on it heavily unless you want to put the protection cream. You can put the protection cream over where you brow mapped. Just make sure that protection cream does not touch the hairs or the skin that need to be stained. Okay. This answered my brow mapping question. If your goal is to stain the skin, then yes, I see the point. Exactly, Ashley. Yes. Set timer at completion. I set the timer at the completion of both my brows. But once again, if the timer goes over, you're okay because it's not progressive, any of these steps. Okay. Yeah, the styling solution is not in the kit. If you go to our website, RefectoCileEducation.com, there is a section called Intense Browns. You click over that and it's tabs go down like a drop-down box, and you can see where it says where to buy. Okay. I just tuned in. What did you use to exfoliate? I just used one that was gifted to me by GW, by the manufacturer, but it's not available in North America. If doing this process with a facial, at what point would you do your tint? Obviously, I like doing it during the mask. Oh, there you go. I would do it during the mask, but if you're going to put a steamer on the mask, I wouldn't do it because it's going to dry it up or it's going to affect the result. So don't put a steamer. Let me remove it. I know there's a lot more questions. So dry Q-tip. Remove with a dry Q-tip, okay? So how long does the Intense Brown last? 5 to 8 days onto the skin, 4 to 6 weeks on the hair, depending on the skin type, oily versus dry, and what their home maintenance is going to be like. And now we're going to do the drying time. Now, instead of 4 minutes, I can use the fan and dry it, okay? And that's the way I accelerate the drying time. I don't have to wait full 4 minutes, okay? How long does the eye makeup remover last after opening? 12 months. The eye makeup remover lasts 12 months after opening. I use Gerard's from Italy. Is that for an exfoliant? If it's for the face, you're perfect. If it turns out too dark, is it okay to remove with the tear remover? Yes, you can, but just be mindful that you might make it a little blotchy if you're overdoing it. How long to process again? 4 minutes for primer. We're only on the step 1. Can Intense Browns be used with the brow lamination? Yes, it can. You just have to make sure that you clean the area properly with the solutions before you proceed with the Intense Browns. I do have a webinar February 7th. You can go register for that on our website, RefectoCileEducation.com, and you can see how we're going to do a brow lamination and an Intense Browns together in one service. Okay, step number 2. So we're going to use ash brown, okay, for our model Rula. Waxing is done at the end. Dermalogica, yes, they do have good exfoliants. Yep. So I would use that. I know Dermalogica is in schools a lot, so it's good to work with. Okay. Waxing is always done at the end. Any type of hair removal is done at the end. If you do it before, you have open pores, and even with a vegan product, with a plant-based, you could create sensitivity if that customer is really sensitive. So always do it at the end. Yeah, if it's for the face, Maria, the exfoliant, yes, you can use that because the microspheres are going to be much smaller than something that you would use on the rest of the body to exfoliate. Okay, and once again, so the colored gel and the activator come out thicker. Here it is. So they're not as loose as the primer. How long it lasts? 5 to 8 days on the skin, depending on the skin type, and then 4 to 6 weeks on the hair. Once again, depending on the skin type and what the maintenance is done, how the maintenance is done at home. Okay. Okay. So you can always go back and brow map and finish, like if you have to, if you lost some of your brow mapping, you can go back and redo it. Okay, so we're going to add the color gel, the same area. Remember, see, it's still clear. So that's another reason why you'd want a brow map, because it's clear you don't see where you're applying sometimes. So the brow map keeps you guided to stay within. But if you're good at doing it freehand, you're good. That's what an artist is. Be generous with the solution, especially if they have thicker brows. You want it to go through those layers, or if they tend to be dry skin. And this is going to go on for 2 minutes. Remember, we said half the time. Okay, let's apply the other brow. So far, so good. So the mixing, obviously there's no mixing, but the timing is a little bit longer to complete this as opposed to the oxidative, but so far, so good. If you have any questions, just give me a second. I will answer them as soon as I put the timing on. Let me do the other side. Okay. And I just lightly just spread it with the spoolie. Okay, and then I'm going to start the timer. Okay, perfect. So what's the questions now? Everything is dry. You're always removing the steps dry. Okay. What type of maintenance do you? Okay, we'll go through that. Can you repeat how long it lasts? Thank you, Ashley. Stains the skin 5 to 8 days, depending on perfect. Thank you, Ashley. What type of maintenance do you suggest after the intense? So when you're done the service as a professional, you're going to end it with the aftercare of the styling gel. Any of the RefectoCil services, you have to end it with the styling gel to protect, to hydrate, to seal in the treatment. Okay, and then you can sell this to your customer too. Okay. But at home, they should avoid within the 24 hours any saunas, swimming, washing their face excessively with water, like being in the shower too long. Just avoid water area and anything on the brows, and also makeup and oils for the first 24 hours. Afterwards, they should still follow that same kind of protocol because it is a topical tint. It's not going to last as long. So they shouldn't be rubbing their brows after 24 hours with exfoliants and releasing that color or making it patchy. Okay. So you tell them to be mindful even after the 24 hours. How often do I have webinars? Every month I have one, and it will always be advertised on our website. How often can the service be repeated? Try not to repeat it earlier than 4 weeks, but you can repeat it every 4 weeks. Okay. If you start doing it too soon, it might not stick anymore to the skin. I thought the staining of the skin would last longer compared to the cream tints. What is the real difference between the two? The oxidative tints, there's no skin staining. When you finish doing it on your customer, they have that shadow effect. But as soon as they go home and they wash their face, they touch their face, they sweat or whatever, it goes away. Because the oxidative tints are meant to color hair, not skin. The intense browns is meant to stain the skin. So you'll get 5 to 8 days. There's really not a product out there that this, like even henna sometimes only lasts 3 days on the skin. So we have been told that our product lasts longer than certain henna types out there, right? It's really hard to get a natural product to last that long on the skin. Okay. I remove the primer with a dry Q-tip. Yes, perfect. Thank you, Tamara. Dry Q-tip, all the steps. Thank you. Wouldn't there be a change of lifting if we exfoliate then wax? Would there be a chance of lifting? No, because you're using a gentle exfoliant. So you will be okay as long as your exfoliant is gentle. Okay. Brushes for each color of tint. Yes, you should. Well, meaning in the one step, you have three, in the one service, you have 3 steps. You need to use 3 different brushes, 3 different bowls. You can't intermix. We charge between 40 to 65 for this service, depending on how much intensity, remodeling you have to do. Okay. So dry Q-tip, even for step number 2. Anything we put with water will affect the results. And that's why we also dry the brows after. Okay. And now if you have to, or we'll dry first, and if you have to go back and fill your, what's the word called? Your brow mapping, you can. Yep, you can go back to this video later when it's recorded. You'll get it in the thank you email. Yeah. Hopefully the majority of you guys can stay till the end, because I will announce the contest. But otherwise you do get a recording. Yes. 4, 2, and 1. Correct, Maria. They're all half of each other. Primer is 4 minutes. Primer is 4 minutes. The color gel is 2 minutes. The activator is 1 minute. Okay. The oxidant tints do last on my client's skin for 6 to 8 days. Are you sure about that? Is it RefectoCil oxidant? Are you using a higher peroxide though? Some people just go with a higher peroxide level, and we don't teach that because you will long-term affect the skin and the eye area. So, and it also varies on the customer because it doesn't penetrate into the skin. The oxidative tints, some customers will not have it past a day. So it just varies on your customer as well. So this one, they will last, like we said, 5 to 8 days onto the skin. We said $40 to $60 to charge for the service. And we said the timings, 4 minutes for primer, 2 minutes for color gel, 1 minute for activator. Oh, sorry. Was there something that you couldn't hear when I walked away? Sorry. Mine does too, but only with dry skin clients. So you say it lasts longer if they're, yeah. If the client's skin is dry, it's going to hold it in better, for sure. Any system. But if the client has oily skin, the oxidative tint won't last as long as the intense browns. Was there anything that when I walked away was missed? I just heard somebody say that my voice gets a little bit lost when I walk away from the mic. Let me know. Okay, so now we're going to do the final. Can you do it over old eyebrow? Yes, you can. Yep. Any microbladed brows, yes, you can do it over. As long as they're not going in for microblading touch-up soon, and as long as it wasn't just done, the tattoo. But if it's old and outdated and they just need a freshen up look and they don't want to go do a microbladed a retouch-up, then yes, you can do it on top. Okay, primer, the final step. With a primer, you're going to apply it with the narrow brush. The second step was the color gel. Now we're going to the final step. So, which is the activator. So you have 2 brushes. You have the wide end, which I did both 2 steps, the primer and the color gel with this. But as soon as you go to the activator, use the narrow one because you'll have more control and to work within that brow mapping and to control it. Because even if you're not using the brow mapping, you want to be able to control and not have a fat brush, or else you might go out areas that you shouldn't. Okay. So, and a tip with the activator is when you pour in the activator, right? You pour it in and you grab it and you go and you touch the brow, right away it darkens instantly. So your brush gets all that activated part. And if you go back in, you're deactivating this. So always wipe your brush, wipe it very well before you go back in and grab more. Okay, or else you're going to have patchiness. Second thing too is, in order not to have these blotch patches, when you take your activator and you start to apply it, your brush should be moving right away. Don't take and go drop and then brush. Go in and go movements like this. Okay, that way you won't have patchiness or those blotchy look. Okay, She applied the color tint now onto the activator. Yeah, so the first step was a primer. The second step, what we just finished, was the color gel of ash brown. And the final step is the activator. Okay, so this one's going to take time. This one's you're going to take your time. You're not going to rush it until you get more comfortable with it. But this is where the magic happens. Okay, so you see how it instantly darkens? Instantly. So keep your brush moving, okay? And I'm going to clean it. I'm cleaning it. I just cleaned it on my glove. And I'm going to go back. Now, once again, be generous with this, because in an ombre look, you're going to take from this section and bring it to the front. So be generous. And I'm using my spoolie as well to spread it through so that it's even the activator and it's not blotchy. So now is where you can grab. You're going to have to be a little bit slower, especially if the brows are much smaller that you're working with. But as I'm grabbing the activator from that end, I'm slightly buffing it with the spoolie, because if I apply with my brush, I'm going to get that blocked look and it's going to look like a full brow. Okay. So what I usually do, if I need some more, I apply some wet area and I spread it through, and then I have it on my spoolie to spread it and create that softer look. So your minute now is up. Don't worry. Like I said, it's not progressive, but it's up, and we can remove to see what it's like. So we'll do the one so you can see. I add a little bit of water, not too much drenched, just a little. I don't want it to be overly wet, because like we said, we don't want them to be with warm water. My water's cool though. So what's the question? 1 minute, how many minutes today you take for this treatment? Today, it's hard to tell because I am teaching, so it's much longer. If you're alone with your customer, you should be able to complete this between 30 to 40 minutes if you're including a brow shaping, if you're including a waxing and so forth. Okay? When I say it's progressive, I mean it's not tinting longer. It stops at the 1 minute. Okay? It stops at the, yeah. Okay, so 1 hour for this with an eyebrow wax, and 1 hour is enough for this. It's more than enough. 1 hour. We usually say 30 to 40 minutes, but 1 hour is enough. So you see how in the beginning of the brow, she did get that a little bit of the staining, but not so dark. Okay? Because we want to give her the ombre effect. Now, I'm not going over this with the tint remover because I don't need to. If I do, I might make it blotchy. Okay? So now we're going to go to the second eyebrow before we put the primer. She did have brow lamination done, so some of her brows here stick up and some of them don't, but it's okay when we put the styling gel. Okay, I put a little bit of water, very little. Just a little bit of water. No, with a little bit of water, because we need to remove that staining effect, right? And I don't want to use tint remover. And also we don't want to leave any of that color gel on, or else when she touches it, she'll get her hand stained. So it was just a little bit of water that I wet my con. I didn't overly drench it. Okay. Plus it was cool, the water. You don't mix it. This system, the way they created it, even with like, you don't mix it. That's how the system is. There's no mixing. If you want to mix the colors with each other, you can. but they suggest not to because you're only going to intensify it and give your customer another look that they didn't want. It might be too dark for them. Okay. What happens if you get to and you're happy with the results? Yes, you can repeat. Like for example, if I didn't like how the beginning of the brow here looked, I can go back, put the color gel, put the put the activator, like redo it. Okay. So you can fix it. They say you can go back and just do the color gel and the activator. That's it. You don't have to go back to the primer because the primer should already be, if you were generous with it, it should already be on the skin. Okay. While we practice and get the timing, is it best to do activation on the brows or one at a time? I say for you. I say for you to get comfortable, do one brow at a time. But because it's not progressive, I just do it so you guys can see the difference, right? That I achieved. You can see how cool the tone is. But otherwise, you can do it together, the brows. But if you want to just spend your time and sculpt it nicely, you can do them separately as you're practicing. Yes. So I'm just going to start doing this end. And just important is just to keep that brush moving. And then I'm going to make sure I wipe off the excessive amount on my glove. Get some more. I'm using my spoolie to spread it in nice. Yeah, so obviously when you do this as a treatment, you won't be teaching like in this, like today, so it could be much shorter, right? Obviously we had the PowerPoint and so forth, but me answering questions, pausing and so forth, you're not going to have that when you're alone with your customer. Okay, so you can see why the narrow brush is really helpful. You have more control as opposed to a thick brush, an angled narrow brush. How much activator did you squeeze into the bowl? You're gonna start with less. Okay, so basically, the only residue I had left was basically the only residue I had left was that much, right? But I could have went less. So always go less and add only if you need more. Okay, so you don't have wastage, and potentially you can even do more than 60 applications. You can do much more. Okay, so let's get a little bit of water. Every time you apply color, you wipe the brush so you don't deactivate the product. Yes, this is for the activator part because see how dark it gets and the brush gets dark. So as soon as I put it in the bowl to grab fresh, it's mixed with the activated one and you won't have great results. That's why people get patchiness. Could you just apply with a spoolie for less intense look? You can, but if there needs to be skin staining, you might not achieve proper skin staining. So that's why we utilize the spoolie only for an ombre look. You can try, but if that person had patchiness, then you're going to have still patchiness. So you'll have to try and see if the technique will achieve what you need. So if, say, for example, you say had some markings there that didn't make the brow look crisp, just take your tint remover, and your tint remover it says for intense browns. So make sure that you're using the tint remover for intense browns and not the oxidated one. And pour some on a Q-tip. And just clean any edges that you felt were not crisp or sharp. I don't put on the rest of the brow because you're going to make it look patchy. Okay. Unless the customer's like, I don't like it, it's too so dark, you might have to soften it. Okay, so the final step would be your styling gel. Grab a new spoolie, because we don't want to use a spoolie what's on this. Thank you, Rimpaj. Let me see. Oh my god, I love it. Such a full look already. It is. It is. And imagine with the brow lamination too, huh? How nice it would look. Could you just apply with a spoolie? We answered that. Oh my god, I love it. Such a full brow. How long do you let it sit? Which one? The step number 1, 2, 3? Because step number 1 is 4 minutes. The primer is 4 minutes. The color gel is 2 minutes. The activator is 1 minute. That's it. It doesn't progress. Is there a way to tint the skin darker where hair is lacking so you don't get the two-tone look? You can use a stronger primer. Maybe if they were like, some people might have the end of their brow missing completely, so you can go with a stronger primer. Maybe I haven't tried this, but a stronger primer and then a lighter primer at the beginning where the hair is more dense, right? But if you wanted to get more darker skin staining, you can use a stronger primer. Okay, so I'm going to take this out. So it's the cap, we don't want to use it to what's it called, cross contaminate. A customer at home can use the cap that comes in it because it's a spoolie, but I don't. So I squeeze on my glove where there's a clean spot. I squeeze some of it and I use my spoolie to spread it. Thank you guys. I cannot wait for the lamination class. I think my students would really love to learn. That's awesome. Yep. Send a link to them. Tell them to go on the website to do it. For lighter color results, this is the lightest color that we use, the ash brown. So you would just have to, sorry, it's a little blurry. You would have to just softly work it with the spoolie. Okay. But I use the ash brown on a couple of people who are blonde and it still looks okay. Still looks good because I do the ombre look and I spread it with the spoolie. She already had dark brow hairs to begin with. That's why it comes out a little bit darker. When I do it on my other associate, another model, when I do it on her and she has a little bit blonder brows, it actually comes out a little bit lighter than this. It comes out more grayish, like more graphite-ish. Cool. Okay. So this is cool, but a little bit darker because her brow hairs are dark at the back. Okay. So the tones will slightly vary too. There we go. Okay, so that's what the intense browns look, and you can see it. You can totally see a difference. If any of you took videos or recordings or pictures, like you can. I had one time when somebody take a picture of the before and after and shared it on social media with the same model, actually, with Rula. She's been famous. And it looked amazing because her brows before were, a little thinner. That's why the brow lamination is really accommodatable for Rula's brows, but just a little bit more depthness. I kept them still very natural. I didn't go too thick because also your customer might not want it thick. So and then with her hair color, it's very fitting. Okay, so you can see again. I'm just gonna do it sideways again so you can see. Okay. Okay. So let me just see quickly because I need to tell you guys the contest. If you let it sit longer, it will be darker and will last longer for. If you let it sit longer, it doesn't necessarily mean it will go darker because it stops working. Okay, so it's not a progressive tint. Like, there's hair colors that can be progressive, so you can leave them, they can progress until 45 minutes. This does not. Our oxidative tints, they progress for 45 minutes. This one doesn't. Okay. You can apply all the products with a spoolie, but when I do the last step and I want to do ombre, as I'm using the brush on this end, I switch my brush to the spoolie part and I slightly buff the beginning so I don't make the beginning too aggressive, too dark, that it looks like a full brow instead of an ombre. Okay. Yeah, you need a strong primer. For Asian warm skin, you would have to do the chocolate brown because it's got that warmth in it. Yeah, the styling gel is not included in the kit, so you would have to buy it separately. And the styling gel, you apply it after you've done the waxing. The last step. For advice for your gray clients, it should cover it. It should cover all the new gray. If it starts to get very, very coarse, oh, sorry, am I pulling your hair? I'm so sorry. If it starts to get very, very, very coarse, then and wiry, you might have to make that hair porous. Okay. So the styling gel, thanks. Oh, no problem. Thank you, Krista. For dark skin, you can go to the deep brown. Natalia, you can go to the deep brown because we showed some models. You can watch back if you didn't come from the beginning. You can watch back the before and after pictures and see what model it would work. The ash brown would work for blonde clients. That's what I use. Okay, so I'm going to go back to the PowerPoint and go to the contest. Give me 1 second. Thank you, everybody, for your time. You should use a styling gel. It's the aftercare. It seals, hydrates, protects any of the services that you did. Actually, after I'll put it back on the camera after to show you with your eyes open. But yeah, you can see now with even her eyes open how the brow looks good. Yep, you can watch the replay. Okay, contest. So because we launched our online academy, thank you, Rula. Because we launched our online academy for, for the RefectoCil, you're able to enter this contest to win, to enter, to actually do the online course for free. Okay, so if you want to win free access to the Intense Brown certification course, which also earns you a CE unit, like it also gives you that for your, I forgot what the word is, for your continuing education. This is so you get to do that and it gets onto your certificate. Do the following things. Follow us on Instagram, RefectoCil North America, Roesa by RefectoCil. Like us on Facebook, RefectoCil North America. Leave a comment about the webinar on the latest post. So you'll see there was a new post on the webinar for today. Leave a comment about the webinar and tag 2 Beauty for Professionals. And I will put that aside. Whoever's done that, I take your name and your social handle, and I will announce an IG winner in about a couple of weeks. So if you do that, you get to we'll do about 5 winners. So get cracking, start doing this this giveaway because you get to do a certification course for free. Okay, guys. So I really appreciate your time today. Thank you so much for spending that time with me. I hope you are feeling comfortable with this. You can rewatch it back, and I'm always here with the education email. I'll go back to that slide if you need to get back to me and let me know any questions. Education CBN Group. Thank you, everybody. If I didn't answer a question, please, on both IG pages, leave whichever one you do. If you do it on both, it gives you extra bonuses. Okay. But please, if I didn't answer your questions, there was a lot of questions. If I didn't answer it, please reach out to me in the email and I will answer it. Okay, guys. Thank you so much for your time. There's my little jazz hands. Thank you for spending that time with me. I really appreciate it. All the best and show me your work as well. Okay. Bye.